Nancy has told me, be very careful what you say. And Betsy, I think, knows what I've said before, Betsy Fabricant, at other occasions, so I'm going to be especially careful. We're not going to go anywhere near where I've been before. But I've been a professional in the field of blindness since 1966, and it's nice to see some old friends here from the field. I knew Visions before it was Visions, when it was CIL, and I knew Visions before Nancy knew Visions. And so I offer I think, a very unique perspective. And I think if I were not Nancy's husband, I probably would have asked to be here to talk about how much vision has meant to people who are blind and visually impaired in New York City. But allow me one personal moment, because I do want to acknowledge some very close friends. We're thankful that you're here, our family, our children who we love and we also happen to like, our beautiful grandchildren who are sweet, adorable, and in their terminology, completely awesome. And is my mother-in-law here?
No. Not yet.
Okay, when she does come, I just wanted to acknowledge her, because if it weren't for her, we wouldn't be here tonight. There wouldn't be Nancy. So that is obvious, but she has recently won the Living Legends Award from the United Federation of Teachers for not 25 years, this is nothing, 50 years of leadership. Will you tell me that I said that?
Yes.
Okay, that gives me a couple of good weekends. So let me speak as a professional. So this morning, not knowing what Nancy was going to say or what Commissioner Lee was going to say, I began to just change what I might want to say. And I went to the American Foundation for the Blind Directory of Services for Blind and Visually Impaired Persons in the United States and Canada. That should be the end of my speech. And in our school library, there was a copy of that. 1993. That was the most recent copy. Someone should have told someone to renew the subscription. So I looked through it, and what did I find? In 1993, Visions served 1,500 people. Today they serve 6,000 people. It's absolutely remarkable. In 1993, they served people who were 18 years old and older. Today you serve people from infants, okay, to Manny, are you here? Over 94.
True.
And what is missing from the 1993 version, and I haven't looked at the 2012 version, are the many programs that have taken place since Nancy has been the executive director. And that includes the Senior Center on Blindness, which is just an amazing program. It's the first of its kind in the United States and the only one of its kind. And there's the Vision Center for the Blind, which I particularly like because I did my internship there. I worked as a volunteer there. It is the most comprehensive rehabilitation and independent living training center that serves people on a residential basis, providing OT and PT and orientation and mobility, a variety of services to families and sighted siblings on, that help advocacy and provide support, a computer center. There is everything you would want in one center serving a diverse amount of people. And this is really an amazing achievement. And I'm not going to tell you about all the other things that Nancy and Visions in particular have accomplished. They are in your journal, and I'm sure you will see them. But it occurred to me, why is Visions thriving when there are so many not-for-profit agencies that are struggling to survive? And these are the answers that I came up with. Number one, Visions has always established a consumer base. And when I mean a consumer customer base, people not who are being served, but people who pay Visions to serve people who are blind. Agencies like the New York State Commission for the Blind, and I work for the New York State Commission for the Blind. And why did I refer clients to the Center for Independent Living, which is a predecessor, or to Visions, or encourage my staff to do that? Because there was quality of service, there was accountability, there was the joy of working with staff. Some of them I met in 1972 when CIO was first established and are still there. All those factors made us want to send our clients, our consumers, to Visions. It's a place where if your uncle or aunt or friend lost their vision, this is the place where you would send your friend. So that was one reason. I noticed there are many grant funders here in this room, and I'm sure your support is appreciated, but I wondered, why do they support Visions? And I thought of several reasons, but instead I did my homework. I saw Dan Callahan, and I said, well, why? Why do you use Visions? And he talked about creativity, he talked about commitment, and he talked about working with Nancy. There's another reason why Visions is so successful, and that is, look around you and introduce yourself to some of the board members at Visions. Their commitment to the vision of the agency and to people to which it serves is absolutely amazing. And I know Nancy's generosity of spirit will probably, she'll probably respond and talk more about it. So I'm going to move on, other than to just thank you for what you do for this very important organization. And then there's the executive director herself. I've been an executive director. I got out of that business after 7 years. I'm a very happy person now. Now I sleep at nights. Okay? And the only time when I don't sleep is when Nancy is tossing and turning about administering her agency. It takes a lot of emotional energy, physical energy, mental energy. It takes a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of commitment, and a lot of passion. Passion is something that I'm uniquely qualified to talk about with regarding to Nancy, but I won't.
You can't
So
take them anywhere.
what I want to talk about is three things. One, Nancy as a collaborator, Nancy and her business style, and Nancy and her business ethic. So, I see a lot of people from outside of the field of blindness here, and that's absolutely amazing because Visions is a blindness agency. So I always question, why is Nancy always so involved with NASW, social workers, and aging organizations, and all these other organizations, and why is she always coming home late because there's a dinner, or asking me to drive her to the PATH train because she has an early morning breakfast? And I must confess some mixed feelings here. I'll be less than honest, because I'm a very needy person. So Nancy is away a lot. But when I put on my professional hat, and I think objectively about it, I really am very proud of her, because she recognizes that people who are blind are not only blind, they have a variety of other conditions, issues, aging, other disabilities, social and economic issues. And the only way you can address these issues is through collaboration and advocacy. So I commend all of those of you who are from other fields, because you do an awful lot to help people who are blind and visually impaired. So this brings me now to Nancy as a business person. And oh yes, I did want to offer, how can I not offer a quote from Helen Keller at a blindness-related meeting, and it was Helen Keller, and speaking about collaboration, said, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. But I want to move on to another quote, and this is from a business executive, perhaps the most well-known business executive of the 20th century, or the mid-20th century, who said, it's not personal, Sonny, it's business. And a couple of days later, he was invited by a business competitor to go out and have an Italian dinner at a restaurant in the Bronx. And after a small, minor difference of opinion, Michael Corleone got up and walked out and didn't pay the check. Now, I did leave out some part of what actually happened, but recognize my grandchildren in the audience, and we're very concerned about unnecessary violence. So I was thinking, what do Michael Corleone and Nancy have in common?
I'm interested in learning.
At first I thought it was, I have beautiful family here with me, I thought it was an interest in the family. And then I thought about Fredo. So that went away. There is one thing that they don't have in common, and that is Nancy sees business as personal. And there are many people in this room I know who have donated their time and donated their money, and some who have donated their time and their money to Visions. And why do they do that? Well, sometimes Nancy asks. But very often it's because Nancy speaks about Visions and the accomplishments, not hers, but of the organization and its consumers with such pride and such passion that people, and I see one person in the room right now, here she is, raising her hand and saying, how can I help? So I think that's wonderful. As far as her business ethic and integrity are concerned, I think this is something special that I cannot leave without mentioning. Years ago, in the late 1980s and the early 1990s, I used to teach a graduate course at Hunter College on the blindness delivery system. And students would ask, how do you find out which agency is good, which agency is not good, which is the agency should I refer my friend? I said, call up an agency, ask them a question, see how responsive they are, and you'll get some sort of answer. Speak to professionals, if you can, speak to some consumers. But go and get yourself an annual report that the agency produces. And this is what you're going to find. You're going to find out something about program, but you're going to find out something about the board and the executive director. Does the executive director give money to the agency? Does the board of directors give money to the agency? Look at Vision's annual report and you'll get the answer to it. The answer is a definite yes. Not many agencies provide that amount of disclosure, so I'd like to commend Nancy Jones and the board of directors because I read a lot of annual reports. There's nothing like yours. No one has as much information. The other piece of information I have that I suggest people look at is look at that little pie chart. What is the relationship of your expenses of client services compared to the expenses of administrative costs? 86 to 14, very, very low. Which one is it? Is it 86 for administrative expenses? It's the other way around, 14. And it takes, I could see, I've worked with other agency directors and I've traveled with them. Nancy never goes any place. I think the extent, I know agency directors refurnish their office, buy a new desk, a new carpet. The only thing I've seen in her office in the past 15 years is the plaques she gets. And so it must be hooks to put up the plaques. That's the only administrative expenses paid. So hopefully by now, I think you get a sense of the respect and admiration I have for Visions, the agency, and the executive director of Visions. So let me just close with one other comment. Sometimes all of us are lucky when we meet a professional who just makes us want to do a better job by virtue of their work ethic and work performance. And sometimes you meet a person who makes you just want to be a better person. And I am fortunate, in fact, I think I am blessed. I found one person here who inspires me to be both. So that's it. And just enjoy yourselves.